Are you looking for a newer neighborhood in Norman, Oklahoma? Let's go take a look at Greenleaf Trails. I'm Marcie Billen. I'm a real estate agent in Norman, Oklahoma. And the neighborhood of Greenleaf Trails is really important to me because I live here. Greenleaf Trails is located in North Norman and is just on the east side of I-35. This location is one of my favorite things about this neighborhood itself because the location is so good. I can get to downtown so fast and I really love downtown. The surrounding streets to this neighborhood are 12th, Rock Creek, and Tecumseh. And there are lots of other neighborhoods around too, like Vintage Creek, Highland Village. We have Flint Hills going in. And then there's other neighborhoods just down the road like Red Canyon. Poppy Grove is just around the corner and Trailwoods is right next door. Greenleaf Trails is a one builder neighborhood, meaning that only one builder has built the entire neighborhood, with the exception of some from Landmark. Ideal Homes is the builder. Landmark is like a sister company to Ideal Homes. So they have built a few homes in this neighborhood, and then they also have a neighborhood right next door called the Springs at Greenleaf Trails. And the Springs is a gated community, and so the house prices are a little bit higher, the HOA fees are higher, etc. But we're not covering that one today. Greenleaf Trails started in 2010. For those of us that live here, we have an older section and a newer section. So the older section and the newer section are not connected by roads, only by a footbridge. I think there's 2 ways in and out of the old section and 2 or 3 ways out of the newer section. If you're contemplating a move within Norman, within Oklahoma, or maybe from somewhere else, I would love to see if we can help. Me and my team are Norman-based realtors. You can find my email, phone number, and website in the description below. So I showed you where this neighborhood is located, but it's kind of hard to tell why this is such a great location. I think it's a good location, as I mentioned, because it's close to downtown. Handsome and I, Handsome is my husband, we used to live in Brookhaven, which you may have seen my video. I'll link it here for you. So Brookhaven is a great neighborhood on the west side of Norman. It's a little bit older and it's huge. It's one of the biggest neighborhoods in Norman. And that location is really good. You're pretty close to the interstate, usually less than 2 miles. The interstate meaning I-35, which runs north and south, all the way from Mexico to Canada. So Greenleaf Trails is super close to I-35 and not maybe in the way that you're thinking. So I-35 has another road that sometimes is the same road. So it's the old Highway 77. Old Highway 77 in Norman is Flood Avenue. And Flood goes directly through town where I-35 does not. It goes more on the west side of town. But here in Greenleaf Trails, we're really close to Flood, and Flood happens to have an on-ramp to I-35 going north, so it's really close for us to get to. But if you want to go south, you do have to drive over the overpass to get there. And then I also mentioned downtown. I love downtown Norman. It's amazing. I have a ton of videos about it. You can totally check them out. I'm going to link them at the end of this video for you. Downtown Norman is old, it's cute, it's being revitalized. I love it. I love the coffee shops and the shops in general and the restaurants. So I often will go work there or of course go out to lunch. So living in Greenleaf, you also need to know about the train. We do have a train track close. However, in Norman, the train horns don't go off. So that's gone. They only go off if there's an emergency on the track, someone's on the track and the conductor needs to tell them to get off the track. I do hear the train from my house, not usually during the day because I think there's just too many other noises. At night, we do hear the faint rumble of the train. On Tecumseh sometimes, or even on Rock Creek, it is possible to get stopped by the train. And if that happens, there is a way around it. There's one in Norman. There's an underpass, what we call an underpass, where the road goes underneath the railroad. So there's one of those on Robinson, so that's fantastic. And then there's also one in Moore, so if you really needed to go north, you could get around it that way, or just drive north until, the train is gone. To access the underpass in Norman, I just drive down Stupman, which is where Norman North High School is. So it's really close to my house. It happens pretty rarely that there's a train actually stopped in the tracks. They move pretty consistently down the track in Norman. Greenleaf is also close to Max Westheimer. So Max Westheimer is an airport in Norman, and it is classified as a business airport. So we get like business jets and smaller regional planes. So OU students learn to fly there. I know people that have their personal planes there. And of course, like the OU teams will fly in and out of Max Westheimer. Cleveland County YMCA is also located at Max Westheimer, and that is where I go and work out. And it takes me usually about 5 minutes to get from my house in Greenleaf to the Y. If you are worried about the train or the airport, then you need to visit. You need to see if the noise level is something that you can put up with. One thing to keep in mind is that the aerospace industry is really important to Oklahoma. Like, we have a huge aerospace industry here. And actually Tinker Air Force Base is just up the road. So like it's totally possible for you to live in Greenleaf and work at Tinker Air Force Base, which is the largest single site employer in Oklahoma. And keep in mind that the Department of Defense is the largest employer in Oklahoma. So I mentioned that Greenleaf is a one builder community. Idle Homes is the builder. They are locally owned, and they're also one of the biggest builders in the state. So we chose to live in this neighborhood not only because of the location, but also because of the builder. The homes in this neighborhood are going to range between 1,300 square feet and 2,100 square feet. The lots are all varying sizes of city lots. Like my house has a very small front yard and a larger backyard, but other houses have the opposite. And all the homes in here have a 2-car garage. Keep in mind that for newer neighborhoods like this one, the first 20 years of the neighborhood being built is when you'll see the largest turnover rate, which means the most people moving in and out of the neighborhood. Most homes in this neighborhood have 3 bedrooms, maybe 3 bedrooms and a study, and some have 4 bedrooms. Currently, at the time of filming, there are new homes available in this neighborhood, but they're working on the last section. But that does mean that you can pretty easily find a resale home in this neighborhood because, like I said, in the first 20 years of a neighborhood being built is when you'll see the highest turnover rate for homes. The total number of homes in Greenleaf is going to be over 400 when they're all done. There's also a brand new neighborhood just like this one that's being opened right across Tecumseh, and it's called Flint Hills. And at the time of filming, the first few houses are just now being built and no one lives there yet. If you would like more information about Flint Hills, go ahead and drop a comment below and I'll get that to you. So Greenleaf Trails does have an HOA, and as a resident, I can say that they're pretty easy to work with. It's not terrible. At this point, the yearly fee is under $300. What that includes is there are a few playgrounds around the neighborhood. Actually, I think there's one big playground with a splash pad. And then there's also a basketball court at this point, and some other green space, a lot of green space actually, that the HOA takes care of. There's also ponds, and in those ponds they are stocked with fish, and people can fish out of them. And I've seen people get some pretty big fish out of these catch and release ponds. My favorite thing though about this neighborhood is the trails. So I love walking, and Greenleaf Trails has part of the legacy trails in Norman running through it. Overall, I mean, it's more than a mile. I walk typically a mile every day, but you can follow the trail. It's not the road, it's separate from the road. And you can walk in our neighborhood, you can walk in Trailwoods and Poppy Grove and Highland Village and hit all the ponds and all the different playgrounds along the way. I mentioned how close Greenleaf is to downtown, but it's also very close to Target and the University North Park. So University North Park, it's all been built since I moved to Norman in 2007. And it's Target, there's Kohl's, there's Ulta and TJ Maxx. I mean, there's a ton of shopping, a ton of restaurants, smaller shops, Starbucks, etc. Our favorites are the Thai place, Torchy's, McAllister's, and then of course Starbucks because I go there a lot. And then our favorite sit-down restaurants on that side of town at University North Park are going to be Red Rock Canyon Grill and then Bad Daddy's Burgers. And if you're needing to work at Tinker Air Force Base, like I mentioned before, it's actually just a 30-minute drive up Sooner Road. And you don't even have to get on the interstate. If you'd like to see what homes are available in Greenleaf right now, I'm going to drop a link in the comments. So all you have to do is go to that link. I'm not going to ask you for your email, your phone number, any of that junk. You're just going to go and see the houses that might be available in this neighborhood or super close. The public school system in Norman is separated by elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we have lots of elementary schools, and they run like pre-K through 5th grade. And then the middle schools are 6th through 8th, and then the high schools are the 9th through 12th. The elementary school district for Greenleaf is going to be Adams. It's about 2 miles away. All of our elementary schools in Norman, besides 2, I think, are named after past presidents of the US. The middle school is Whittier, and it's about 5 miles away. And then the high school is Norman North, and it's very close. I see kids driving, of course, to high school, but also riding their skateboards and bike riding to school. Norman North is the closest school to this neighborhood. If you haven't seen my downtown Norman tour, then you may want to check that out. I have, I think, 4 videos that cover downtown Norman. I'm going to link them here. I personally love living in Greenleaf Trails. Of course, no neighborhood or home is ever going to be perfect. However, the location and the walking trails, those amenities really make it perfect for me. We also have several clients that have opted to live in this neighborhood as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I would definitely check out this video next.